Hello Stratters, Bobgar here with $10 Deck. This week we're going to be playing some $10 See the Unwritten in Modern. For those who don't know this card, it's a 6 mana sorcery, 2 green, 4 colorless. Reveal the top 8 cards of your library. You may put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest into your graveyard. Ferocious, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, you may put 2 creature cards onto the battlefield instead of 1. So we're going to basically be building a deck around this so we can enable it and get some really good hits off it. When I first saw this card, the first thing I thought was, this card feels a lot like Tooth and Nail, which is search your deck for 2 creature cards and then put them into play if you pay it for its entwine cost. Otherwise you can do one or the other. But it's also a lot cheaper, both in terms of money and in terms of casting costs than that. And the more I played with it, the more I felt like it was a lot more like a collected company that hit bigger creatures and obviously cost 2 more to cast. Next, in order to hit that 6 mana mark and some things that might even potentially cost more than the 6 mana, since we don't know we're always going to get the See the Unwritten in hand and we're going to have a bunch of big targets for it, we run a land ramp package. So we're running both Fertile Ground, 3 of them, and Overgrowth, 4 of them. Those basically pump up our lands and make them tap for more mana. We're also running 3 Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx. You'll see later that we're running a lot of green pips to power that up and make that produce massive amounts of mana. And to go along with the land ramp, we have creature ramp. So we have Arbor Elf and Voyaging Satyr to untap our lands. Arbor Elf can only untap a forest. Voyaging Satyr can untap a Nykthos if we have it in play. And we're running 4 of both of those, and we're also running 2 Joraga Treespeaker. He's a little bit of a high risk mana dork to run, but in this case we need so much mana that the risk is worth it for the reward, which is, you know, basically an elvish mystic that taps for 2 mana instead of 1. So now that we have those, we need to talk about our Ferocious Enablers. So See the Unwritten, if you just get 1 creature off it, isn't that good. So even though we really want to be hitting super high-end stuff if we can, we need lower-end things to both enable Ferociousness and also enable our Nykthos to pump for more mana in case we don't have the See the Unwritten and we just need to hit our big threats naturally. So to do that, we run 3 Leatherback Baloths. It's one of the cheapest cards with 4 power to enable Ferocious that you can get, and it also obviously adds 3 green pips to enable our Nykthos to reduce more mana. 3 Polukranos. He's great. I don't want more than 3 because he's legendary. He also has a few less pips, and his Monstrous Claws lets him fight other creatures, which is actually really powerful in this deck. He's really one of our only sources of removal. And then 2 Vorapede to top things out. The Undying is really nice, especially. Vigilance and Trample can also both be important. But the fact that he survives board sweepers, which the deck can be a little bit weak to, is a big game. And obviously he turns on Ferocious and adds 3 pips, which is really nice. And then we get to our payoff cards, our finishers. So our finishes are Hornet Queen is great. Basically helps us stabilize a lot against strategies that are creature strategies. If we can get to it, we'll put a whole bunch of Death Touch creatures on the board that they will have trouble getting past. Primalcrux is kind of almost the ultimate card in this deck. A lot of times it comes down, so it comes down normally as a 6/6. It has power and toughness equal to the number of green pips, basically to your devotion to green, and it has trample, and so a lot of times your devotion to green by the time this comes out will be, you know, 13 or 14, so you just come out with a 13 or 13 trample or something like that, which is really powerful. And he's 6 mana, so we can actually play him naturally a lot of the time too if we have to. He's the same cost as See the Unwritten. A lot of times you'll end up with him and See the Unwritten, and you'll just play him out first, hope that he survives so you can get the 2 hit off See the Unwritten the turn after. And 2 Woodfall Primus. He's the biggest guy in the deck. He has a lot of utility. When he comes into play, you can destroy a non-creature permanent, so you can take people off Tron, you can destroy ensnaring bridges, so you can swing past, lots of things like that. And the fact that he has Persist also means he survives past the sweeper. Not only that, if they try to sweep in, when he comes back in, you get to destroy another non-creature permanent, so you get to destroy another land or important artifact they have or whatever. So super powerful. And then the other stuff. So we're a green deck. We need to run some forests. We run 18 of them. Harmonize, we also run 2 of. This is really just to, in some matchups you really need it to kind of, you know, make your hand a little better, find the pieces you need, especially if your opponent is killing a lot of your early game mana dorks and things like that. A lot of times Harmonize will help you kind of push through and find the last few pieces you need in order to go off and play some of your big combo-y creatures. So that's that, and then the sideboard, we're running a pretty standard sideboard, 2 Ghost Quarters, that's just against Tron and, you know, maybe Valakut decks, things like that. Tormod's Crypt obviously comes in against graveyard decks like Living End and Dredge. Natural State against artifact decks like Lantern Control and Affinity. Terastodon, again, mostly against Tron, some other things too. Anytime you want to kill a lot of non-creature permanents, Terastodon is a very good choice. It's probably pretty good against Lantern Control also, for instance. Feed the Clan against anything that's super aggro. We can get it, the Ferocious. As you can tell, we built the deck around getting Ferocious, so we can get that pretty easily. And plus 10 life against, like, creatureless burn deck is just super big game. And even against the creature burn decks, a lot of times they'll give us time to stabilize so we can play or See the Unwrittens. A couple Prey Upons to help games where we really want that spot removal. Not super powerful, but we don't have a lot of other ways in green to kill things, especially for cheap. I mean, we might run Dismember if we had a bigger budget, but we don't. And then Back to Nature as a one of. We've been running to a lot of Enchantress, so I wanted a way to just kill all enchantments. And it's also obviously very good against the Bogles matchup. So yeah, that's the deck. I'm going to play some games with it. I hope you enjoy watching them, and I hope you find the deck interesting and fun. This is probably, of the 3 that I've done so far, this is probably my favorite. I mean, as most of you probably know, I play Green Stompy a lot, and this is a little bit like bigger, like Green Stompy but bigger. It also has the same little devotion theme going with Nykthos and what's the guy called? Let's go back and find him. There we go, Primalcrux. That guy's amazing. All right, see you guys later. Hey, Stratters, Bobgar here. I'm actually recording over the audio I used to have on this because I screwed it up really badly and it was almost impossible to listen to. I'm playing this game against Giant Monster Gaming. Seemed like a cool guy. I decided to go first here, obviously. And I have an okay hand. I keep this. At least I'm pretty sure I do. I should keep it. A little bit of ramp, not a lot else, but that's how some of the hands for this deck will go. Woodfall Primus, hopefully I'll hit eventually, and then Joraga Treespeaker is a good first turn play. And yeah, play down my forest, slam Joraga Treespeaker, pass turn. So on his turn, he's going to play down a red-black land. And it's going to make me slightly worried that he has Bolt Up to kill my Mana Dork. So I decide I don't want to bother paying into leveling it up. So normally the play here would be pay 2 mana, level it up, and then tap it for 2 to play down either the Voyaging Satyr or the Fertile Ground. The Voyaging Satyr is slightly better because you can then tap the Fertile Ground first next turn, but I didn't want to get blown out by trying to put 2 mana into it and then having it bolted before it could resolve, or even after it resolved, that wouldn't really matter, and then not being able to tap him for mana. Well, I guess it would matter, yeah, it would be before it resolved, it would be when the level up trigger was on the stack. He breaks it instead just for a tapped black-red land, a Blood Crypt. And then he plays turn 2, I think Howling Mine. Yep, Howling Mine. So this is kind of good news for me. It shows me that he's not going to be super, super aggro, and he decided not to remove my ramp. So he either doesn't have the removal for it, or he just doesn't think it's that big a deal. But either way, that's really good news for me. And then I pull the See the Unwritten off the top, and now I'm feeling pretty good. Now I'm feeling like he's tapped out. I should definitely level up Joraga Treespeaker. It's a little unfortunate, because if I had leveled up before, I would have more mana here by quite a bit, and I'd be able to play bigger things, but it is what it is. I'm still able to go Joraga Treespeaker, play down Fertile Ground. I should be able to play an untapped land, play Fertile Ground on it, and then tap it twice with Voyaging Satyr to put out Polukranos. Hopefully that's the line I take, 'cause that's the correct line here. It's always a little weird. I don't remember these perfectly. Yep. And I decided to go with Nykthos. It didn't actually matter here because I only needed 2 green. If I needed more green here, like 3 green, I would have done the forest instead. But I thought it was more valuable to get the extra mana off Nykthos in the future, especially because I'm already set up to untap it with Voyaging Satyr. So he draws an extra card with Howling Mine, which is fine. And then he goes and he plays down Ghost Quarter. And Main deck Ghost Quarters are actually not that common in Modern, but against a deck like this, they're kind of really bad for you. They both kill Nykthos and they kill your mana ramp, and in this case, they get to kill both. So it puts me pretty far behind where I wanted to be. Obviously, I just grab a forest. That's my only option. I kick myself here a little bit for not using the mana ramp on a forest, because that would have obviously been way better. And then in addition to that, he managed to Pyroclasm and wipe away my mana dorks. So that's the reason he might even have bolt. That's the reason he didn't try to bolt them. But this is good news. I drew an Overgrowth, and that's going to help me ramp back up pretty quick. And I also have a 5/5 beater on the board that I can just attack with. Unfortunately, all I can do is play the Overgrowth, but it's still not bad. And next turn, I can play down my See the Unwritten and hopefully get 2 creatures off it, assuming he doesn't have any way to kill the Polukranos. And yeah, I mean, it's not worth trying to play around something. So. And his turn, he plays down a big fatty. It's a 5/5 that at the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent draws a card. So he definitely wants me to draw cards for some reason. It's not 100% to me clear why. But yeah, here I just slam See the Unwritten. He's tapped out. I can't even be punished for this, really. So I end up hitting pretty well off it, both a Hornet Queen and a Primalcrux. And so, you know, he's a, 12/12 trample already, and he's going to probably be bigger next turn because I can just play Woodfall Primus or something. I do have him go back down because he decides to take that trade, but that trade is totally fine for me. I don't know what he's doing, but whatever he's doing involves that kind of effect, so if I can trade it for a creature I didn't really need, it's very worth it for me. He tries to he tries to use Sign in Blood here, draw 2 cards and take 2 damage, but he doesn't find what he needs, so he scoops. He was probably hoping for some kind of single target removal there. Here I realized I forgot to put in my sideboard. So sideboarding for me here is very short. It does not take me long. It turns out if you don't have a sideboard, it does not take long to sideboard. I just bask in the glory of my deck. It's pretty beautiful. It's pretty great. I like my deck a lot. And I go, yeah, look at this fabulous deck I have. Isn't it so great? It's so great. I love it. All right. And then at some point I'm going to hit submit. Because neither of those cards are useful at all. No, I already did submit. I'm just waiting for him. All right, fair enough. Yeah, I'm still a little scared of those wipes and the bolts and stuff, but there's not too much you can do about them with this deck. I mean, we're built around a mix of creature and land ramp, so I mean, Ghost Quarters and Lightning Bolts and Pyroclasms do get us a little bit, so we gotta hope to dodge them and hope to get a good hand. This is an amazing hand if it only had land. Like, all these cards are good. I think I point out here that it's kind of neat. It's like, I think I was missing a 5-drop, but otherwise it was like counting up one at a time. And I will keep Harmonize on top here because I had to mulligan a little bit, which sucks. And the Harmonize will help me draw more ramp and draw more good stuff. And I have a little bit of ramp here anyway. So I'm feeling decently about this hand. This time presumably I will just pay mana into the Joraga Treespeaker because I don't have anything else to do on turn 2. Place on Hangerback Walker, which is not super threatening to me. And indeed, I play a land. Level up Treespeaker, and I guess I think I swing in for one because you can't really block favorably with Hangerback Walker here, although it's not exactly a super big attack either. But it's totally fine. It's not a bad attack. He just takes it, goes to 18. Got him. Take that. 1 damage to the face. That was my excited face over there. I was like, yeah, take that, sucker. I have a feeling he has like bolt plus level up here or something. I don't actually remember. Oh, maybe not. I think I slam Overgrowth on one of my lands. Yep, I do. And so, I mean, I don't think it affected the result of the game that much, but this was a pretty big misplay by him. You obviously want to bolt the mana dork before they generate 2 mana, right? So that was just a mistake by him, but that allows me to, no, I clicked the wrong button there. I meant to click Harmonize, but that allows me to Harmonize here as well as playing down the mana ramp. So not totally ideal for me, because obviously I would have liked to have slammed Primalcrux or See the Unwritten, but you know, it still draws me a bunch of cards and gets me in a pretty good position. I'm feeling pretty good about myself right now. Got my best creature in hand, and that creature will turn on the 2 See the Unwrittens in hand, and I have plenty of mana for both, and it's going to be a little hard to take me off it given my hand. This time I learned my lesson. I think actually, do I just slam Primalcrux? Oh yeah, I have to slam. I don't have enough to do anything else here. So I just slam Primalcrux here, and the next turn I'm set up for a good See the Unwritten, hopefully. My opponent, I don't remember what he does here. He's mostly been slowly leveling up his Hangerback Walker. He has an Eidolon of the Great Revels, which is pretty useless against me. I don't have a whole lot of low end. I do play Fertile Ground into it, which I really don't have to here. I was just like, well, maybe I'll need more mana in the future, and it doesn't really hurt to play it out. I mean, I guess it literally hurts for 2 damage, but there's nothing I can't cast from it, because I'm going to be able to still See the Unwritten after I play it, because it costs me 2 mana, but it generates 1, so I was at 7, and I go to basically being at 6, and all my stuff is 6 mana anyway. So hit See the Unwritten, and what do I get off it? I get another, whatever it's called, Primalcrux, and then I go with the Polukranos. It's a little bit of a decision only because I have one in hand already, and it's legendary, but it's the best choice in there by a lot, and I can already cast everything else in my hand, so I don't really need the ramp. So I just start swinging in. He blocks with his Hangerback here, which generates a few tokens, but my guys all have trample pretty much, so he goes to 4 anyway, passes turn, looks at his hand, realizes he can't win, and I think he pretty much scoops it up here. I don't think he lets me swing in for lethal. Yep, that's the game. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this. Sorry I had to dub over it. Hopefully me dubbing over it isn't the most boring thing ever. I thought it was it was a very fun game to play. I am very curious what his deck is. Apparently, I looked up the name, and I suspect he's a YouTuber who makes budget decks as well. So it was probably some kind of budget deck trying to do something, but I have no idea what it was. But anyway, yeah, that was a lot of fun. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. If you enjoyed this content, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/magicgatheringstrat.